Right. Well, plus we have this one over here. He's writing down notes. Where do they speak?
Not in town.
No.
Where's the fire chief?
Take that.
You and Kathy.
I
don't keep track of him. Let's talk to Sasha.
Your only job.
That'd be a full-time job.
That would be. I
Yeah.
mean.
If he just showered, you know. Hey, I warned you guys to talk, because if not, you know, you're gonna have to hear all of us.
Never know. Apparently nobody likes.
Mike and I usually don't sit together at.
I know, we get in
Sporting
trouble.
events,
Right?
sometimes we get in trouble.
No.
It happens.
And I'm writing an agenda for the Goldendale Community Enrichment Meeting, which will be tomorrow night, so everybody is welcome if you choose to come, just saying, you know, what I'm.
Nice.
Oh, there, and you're saying it before a meeting, or before the meeting, so that's good.
There you go.
I'll be there. That's the dunk tank, in case you guys didn't know, that's the,
That so many have offered wonderfully to be dunked in.
yep,
Thank you.
he is this year.
Are you?
He keeps on saying that,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everyone. Welcome to a regular meeting of the Goldendale City Council. Shelley, would you please take roll call?
Steve Johnston,
Absent.
Dion Wheeler,
Here.
Lauren Meeker, Ellie Casey,
Here.
Andy Holm,
Here.
Daniel Covenant,
here,
and Mylan Walling.
Here. Thanks. Do we have a motion to excuse Lauren Meger and Steve Johnston?
so moved.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. It's closed public comment. Of course, we're having a public hearing for the Broadway parking issue that will be the next item on the agenda. This public comment is for any other agenda items. Would anybody like to make a public comment on agenda items other than the Broadway parking issue? That will be next. Anybody on the line with their hand up? Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda, and that's the public hearing for the parking on West Broadway. The Council Public Works Committee recommended eliminating West Broadway parking and or eliminating parking on one side of West Broadway or other alternate parking recommendations and turning the intersection of West Broadway and Mill into a four-way stop. So now we'll open up this public hearing. Anyone who wishes to make a comment, raise a concern, or provide a recommendation on the topic of West Broadway parking and or turning the intersection of Broadway and Mill into a four-way stop will have the opportunity to do so. Please raise your hand, and when called, come up to the podium here and state your name and area of residency. To ensure that everyone gets a chance to speak, 3 minutes per person, please. And then after the public hearing is closed, we will proceed with the agenda, and that topic will come again under council business, where the council will have a chance to discuss it and move forward from there. So anyways, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Who's the first that would like to speak? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium and state your name and area of residency, please.
Jack Runyon, I live at 194 Woodland Road, but I own property at 418 West Broadway. I wanna know how many of the council members have driven Broadway and the alleyways on both sides of Broadway? Two.
Yeah, I think I did.
Okay. Where you gonna put, if you take them off Broadway, where are you gonna put them? You got 7 businesses on Broadway, or have had 7 businesses on Broadway. Now you're gonna restrict their parking? The Presby Mansion is one of them. You take 3 spots off the front. They got restricted on the west side. Then you got 5 houses that don't have parking either. Either they park, so where are you gonna put them? You're gonna put them on the right of way? Or you're gonna put them somewhere else and have them walk long distances? There's, I don't know, and I don't like the 4-way stop on Mill Street. I don't think that's busy enough for a stop sign, stoplight. East Court, 100 East Court. And 400 West Allen needs road work. I should have brought that up probably before. Anyway, there's no curb on Washington Street. So now you're parking off street, parking on grass on Washington. South Mill, no curb. Parking the right of way again. No asphalt. Clickitat curb, no asphalt. Up to the curb. Golden. You got right of way parking, no curb, and no asphalt to the curb. And south is no parking unless you're on the right of way. North Grant is only got 2 hours parking, and that's next to the Presby Mansion. So where are you gonna put them? That's the biggest thing. Maybe you ought to get with the state and have them move the curbing over 4 feet on both sides. Or move it up to the sidewalk. So I guess that pretty well covers me. Yeah, 7 off street, or 7 streets don't have paved parking, 3 don't have asphalt to the curb.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am, please come up and state your name and area of residency, please.
I'm Veronica Clevidence and I live on West Broadway. Next door to the property he owns, actually.
Yeah.
And to address what he was saying about the property owners, I would say maybe a study would be warranted to see how much business those different businesses get. Let's see how much traffic and how much parking they need, first of all, to address those issues. If they need a lot, maybe that needs to be looked at. I don't know. But that aside, it seems to me that for the residences, at least when you go beyond the 1 block where all of those businesses are located, if we look at the residences, which is where I live, if we look at maybe every homeowner getting a placard for every adult that lives on West Broadway to have 1 vehicle that can park on West Broadway, and maybe only parking on 1 side of the road, that would be fair. That would open up that highway to where it would be safe to drive through. My next door neighbor had their rearview mirror sheared off. It was done overnight. Nobody saw who did it. That same neighbor, well, they're the same neighbor that has 5 cars parked there, and I can never park in front of my home because of all their cars. But they one evening also had somebody drive underneath their pickup for the same reason, because it's hard to navigate a lot of times if there are cars on both sides of the road. So I think it would be very fruitful to have only 1 side parked on. But I think it would also be fair, particularly with the lack of parking in the apartments, et cetera, to have each adult have ability to park 1 vehicle on Broadway, and that's it, and only have it on 1 side of the road. That would be my recommendation. I think that would be fair to everybody who lives on Broadway. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else? Yes, please.
Okay, well.
State your
I
name.
live on- My name is Helen Wilson.
Thank
I live
you.
on Oxford Road, but I'm here representing the American Legion on West Broadway. And we're concerned when we have large, well, bingo even on Thursdays or pool on Tuesdays all winter. Our parking lot isn't big enough to hold all the cars, so everybody parks on Broadway. And a lot of times the people from the Presby park in our parking lot if we have nothing going on, which is not a problem. But I just think that I understand the reason for this, but we don't know where we would put the people. And I mean, I've been to a lot of funerals. That's the only place you can park if you're a very large funeral at the funeral. So it's just a real, I understand the reasoning, but we're just really concerned about where we would put our people when we have activities at the Legion.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, please step forward and state your name and area of residency, please.
Okay, I already live out on Locust Lane, but I'm representing the Presby Mansion. And so, just like Helen said, if we have a big group of school kids or something coming, we get big groups of homeschool kids and things like that. They'll park over in the Legion if nothing's going on, and vice versa. If the Legion has something pretty large going on, they'll park on our side of the street or in our little driveway there, so we share it pretty well, but it really is kind of restricted. I'm wondering if you guys can restrict the parking from a certain block back towards, what would that be, north? No,
West.
west, thank you. So, certain blocks maybe, because the business is there. Yeah, the Presby honestly has almost nail parking. We've got that front street, we've got maybe 3 or 4 spots on the side street there. And then luckily they could park over in the Legion when they're not busy, but, and that's it, that's what we have. And we get large groups sometimes, and in the summertime, we actually just are pretty darn busy, so. And the people that come to a museum either tend to be really little and their parents bring them, or they're really old, or like me. So having them walk 5 blocks is going to restrict our business like quite a bit probably, so. I think that about covers it for me, but maybe restricting it to what or maybe you guys can restrict what kind of rigs park on Broadway. We understand, I think, that there is some issues going on with some large rigs. And I understand that because I have people that drive horse trailers that can't get by when there's traffic coming at them. And they probably have wiped a few mirrors out doing that. So maybe you guys can just restrict what gets parked there rather than, anyway, that's it.
Thank you, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir, please step forward and state your name and area of residency, please.
Oh, I'm John Dez, and I bounce between Yakima, High Prairie, and Goldendale, so I don't know where I live. I'm a board member with the Clear County Historical Society, the Presby, and so I just want to add to that it is a big parking issue, but also like we get visitors and sometimes they have a trailer or something like that, so if there's like one of those parking on Grand Street, if they can't park on Broadway, then that kind of eliminates all the Grant Street parking. So anyway,
Thank you, sir.
my 2 cents, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am, please step forward.
I don't know if I used up my 3 minutes, and if so, I'm really, really heartily sorry.
We'll give you an extension.
Thank you. So in hearing this with the Presby, I was unaware because I don't ever see tons of traffic there, so I apologize. I sit at my house and I don't see stuff. But it could maybe behoove us to have some businesses, like I can think of the one that's across from the auto parts store on Main that has like there's that big lot that's empty, and maybe talk to some of the different business owners or places that have empty lots and say, hey, is it possible to contract with you to sometimes say, if there's somebody coming through, can we use this area for overflow now and then? That kind of thing, so that when we do have places like, your one-off visitors who have a trailer, can they park there for a few hours? I mean, that kind of situation might be I don't know, I'm a problem solver where I work, and so I'm hearing these things and going, ooh, 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 so I'm sorry, if that's out of line.
Across the street from that is county.
Mhm.
Is it? Well, that's even easier, isn't it?
Sometimes.
Well, I work for county, just the wrong county, so maybe it's easy.
I think the
Good
one on
luck.
this side there, isn't it? Isn't that Napa?
I believe so. I'm not positive though.
I mean, just a thought, something to look at,
Thank you.
intergovernmental agreement.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am, please step forward and state your name and area of residence, please.
My name is Diane Rastuli. I own an apartment at 315 West Broadway. I live in Portland. I don't live here, so I don't get to see a lot of it. A lot of this is new information for me. So I'm kind of like this gal, which is a problem solver. So what I'm hearing here is there's two situations. You've got the homeowners and you've got the businesses. So I understand that businesses need a place to park, but I also heard sometimes we have people come. Sometimes we have school kids come and we have a bus, and sometimes, and we're closed in the winter and we're open in the summer as far as the presbytery, or closed a lot of times because I actually have some artwork that I need to pick up. So sometimes, but homeowners deal with this problem all the time. I have renters that deal with this all the time. I can't take a picture of my apartment to be able to list it because I have a huge truck in front of it. I came to this meeting with a completely different issue. My issue was the garbage can't be picked up because there's trucks in the way. In the wintertime, the snow gathers around all of these vehicles that are never moved. They can't clean the roads. There's dust and dirt and piles of dirt underneath these cars that are never moved. And my renters have to look at it, and I charge a fair amount of rent for my apartment. And they're like, do I have to look at this all the time? And I'm like, I'm trying, people, I'm trying. I've had several different conversations with officers at different times. And they said, I'm so sorry, our hands are tied. I said, what happened? I grew up in this city. I was born here and raised here, and I don't know what the hell happened, but y'all need to figure it out, because this is a beautiful place to grow up and be raised, and it has turned into something to be a little bit shameful for. And I can't even believe I still own real estate here, but I do because my parents are still here. So until they're gone, I will keep this apartment to keep their legacy. So there's got to be a compromise. I understand that there is a situation with parking. Maybe they can share parking. Maybe the church down the street, maybe you drop the people off and then you move the van or whatever it is that brings the people. I get it. People can walk. You all live in a small town. I live in a city. We walk all the time. Broadway is not that far away. Just off Broadway is not that far away. Or excuse me, Main Street, I'm so sorry. To park and walk to the beautiful museum that we love so much, right? Love the museum. Very important part of this community. But you can park and you can walk. You don't always have to have parking, but if you do, we plan ahead, right? That's what we do, we plan. Let's figure out where we can park these buses or have these kids come in and do whatever we're gonna do. We have to be able to solve both ends of this problem. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Anybody else? Is there anybody on the line that wants to make a comment? Do I see Roger's hand up?
Yes, you do.
Roger, please state your name and area of
That's
residency.
Roger Nicholson. I'm living in the Dells, but I'm covering this for the news, and I have a process question for you. Way back when this first came up, there was some talk about having to wait to deal with WashDOT because that's a state highway as well. And there was some talk about doing a traffic study. So my question is, has any kind of study been done on this to necessitate this change? Are there any traffic counts or any lists of accidents at location or anything hard evidence other than just anecdotal? So, thank you.
There has been no official traffic study done yet. We do have three different proposals. The committee wanted to have a public hearing before proceeding, and those are still on the table, but that'll be at the council's discretion. Anybody else online or here? Yes, ma'am.
I just had a question.
Okay.
Can you come up to the podium again? I'm sorry. You have to have it on the thing.
Okay. WashDOT, do they have a prescriptive easement or they have a right of way? Do you know how wide the right of way is by chance?
West State and Mud City.
Yeah, yeah. So prescriptive means it's just to the edge of the pavement, and sometimes they've got that. And so they only have to the edge of the pavement, so the rest would be, I guess, the homeowners, I'm not sure. So it might make a big difference if you find out what they either have a right of way or an easement or a prescriptive easement.
I will look into that.
Okay,
Thank you.
that might help.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk to them.
Anybody else? Like that? Yes, please step forward.
More of my 3 minutes, I'm right down to one now,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You can have
So, thank you. So as far as the stop sign, I like it, and I will tell you why. I sit in my living room and I hear cars coming to town. I live almost to Washington, and I hear the cars come into town just and they are going so fast. And I can't even tell you the kids that are playing outside on the sidewalks from the apartments next door and all over the place. And I cringe, and all my kids are grown, but my little grandson, who's almost 5, comes to play with me, and I think there's no way in hell he's gonna play outside at my house. There's just no way in hell. And they come through so fast. And yeah, I mean, it's not like, you know, I have a lead foot as well. But I try really hard to pay attention to that kind of thing when I know I'm coming into city limits here or anywhere else. But it is really rampant here. And I think having a stop sign there, it's not for that it's busy or anything, it's to slow down those speeders, is what my understanding was. And I am all for it because I hear them not slow down. So I just wanted to toss that into the mix.
Thank you, appreciate it. Anyone else? Is there anyone else that hasn't got a chance to speak yet that would like to?
Well, I'm gonna.
Okay.
Do you know what the city can do on Broadway since it is a state highway?
Yes, the city has the authority to change parking. The stop sign, we would have to clear with the State Department of Transportation. That would be something that they would have to put up
I was just-
under our recommendation.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I want to make sure anybody that would like to. Use the stop sign, good idea, okay.
I think it's a good idea just for people who are walking and need to cross that road, because the only other
If
way
you're
to
gonna-
cross is way
If
up.
you're gonna keep talking, then you gotta come to the podium.
I don't want to keep talking.
We have to be.
We just want to make sure we get you on the recording.
Absolutely. So I think it is important to have another stop sign there. I think it's important for the exact same reason these people say I'm not here a lot, but when I am here, I see them, and it's not necessarily the locals, but it's the people in the summertime that come through that are doing, you know, that are traveling through the countryside and what have you, and they don't realize that they just come to zipping in to town. And change is good, right? Like change is a good thing. And it would probably be very interesting to see by putting a stop sign in, what kind of good change happens. Maybe more people will start using that as a cross rather than having to go all the way down to the other way to make the cross to feel safe. And maybe more children will be out making the cross. I think it's a good idea. I don't think there's anything wrong with putting a stop sign in anywhere, real honestly. I think it's good. Take a moment, slow it down. Yeah, I think it's good. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Want to make sure anybody else that would like to speak gets an opportunity. Is there anybody else?
I'd like to say something about a stop sign.
Okay,
There's a stop sign over by the hospital that you put in,
yes.
4-way stop. I don't know how many people I've seen drive right through that one. Because wasn't there before,
Mhm.
right through it, you go.
Yeah. Anybody else like to make a comment? Anybody have their hand up on the line? I want to make sure anybody who wishes to has the opportunity before we close the public hearing. Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing now and move on with our agenda. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda and the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda and the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second,
Motion and a second to approve the agenda and the consent agenda. Any comments, discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thanks, everyone. Okay, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, and it's department reports. We'll start with Chief of Police, Mike Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Not much to report on, other than we did sign up the contracts for the flock camera safety system. So we'll be installing 2 cameras, one in each park, one in Econia Park and one in World War II Park, and then the 3 flock cameras on the entrances to the city. And so what those will do, they'll be aimed, so it'll actually read plates coming into town. And so that'll be an added safety feature. So the next month or two, the process should be started with that. They did waive their installation fee part, so it is a little bit cheaper. So we got a good deal on it. So we'll try that for 2 years and see how it goes.
Thank you, Chief. Maybe at a future meeting, we'll get a more of a presentation to the council and
Yeah, we can
show you
do
guys
the
exactly.
Flock system. Once they're up and
Yeah.
operational, I can actually bring a computer
Yeah.
in and then show you what it does. And
Mhm.
so.
That'd be great.
It's something we've been wanting to do for a long time. I think it's gonna be most helpful. Thank you, Chief. Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you, Chief. City Administrator Sandy Wells.
I don't have anything for tonight.
Thanks. On the public works side, I did have, we had a pre-construction meeting, today for the upcoming water line replacement project. Looks like everything is proceeding as planned. Construction will be set to proceed, to start on Monday. And the residents that will be affected will be notified by Friday. And so, everything's proceeding nicely there. Okay, that's all I had for there, and we'll move on to council business. Council business is the parking on West Broadway issue. We have the public hearing to discuss the parking options. The option for the next step is to make a motion tonight regarding the parking options on West Broadway, or to make a motion to refer it back to the Public Works Committee for recommendations to the council. That's what we did on the Collins Street parking last time, if you remember. So I'll open it up to the council now to either make a motion one way or the other, or we can start discussion. Yes, Danielle.
Just discussion. I don't want to
Okay.
make a motion at this time. So just so that everyone does understand, because I think that it's a misnomer that when we have these public hearings, this is what we are thinking or wanting to do or having to do for whatever reasons with that. What we're doing is we're finding out from the people that it affects, what would happen, what will happen and all of that, because it's been brought to our attention for whatever reason, whether it's safety, lack of parking, whatever the case may be. So understand that when we're doing this, it's not that we specifically feel a certain way or not. It means that we're doing our due diligence to ensure that we have researched everything and heard from everyone that it could involve. Okay, having said that, I'm not part of the ordinance committee. However, I would say that one possibility of helping this could be to have painted lines going from the curb a certain width out, and if they are past that width, then they cannot park specifically in the residential areas, because that's where a lot of parking is happening, where the big vehicles are. By the Presby Mansion and by American Legion, I go there all the time, because from my house to get to my sister's house, I have to pass it. I can tell you, I go there twice a day at least, or I walk it, and there is very, very rarely any issues in the Presby Mansion and American Legion area, because the American Legion has instead of a sidewalk, they have like that kind of parking area, right?
Mhm.
And on the other side, it's so rare that the Presby is full at the same time that the Legion is full. So you're really not having the issues. Where I see the issues, and this is just my personal position, is right when you go past the cemetery, the funeral home, directly past it, from right there west is where you have parking on both sides, and there's often tow trucks and big rigs and flatbeds, you name it. But if you have one on each side, you cannot get 2 cars, one going each direction past. You just can't. Even with small vehicles, you cannot get past sometimes. If there were a line there, and if they went past that line, either they're too wide and they shouldn't park there anyway, or they're parked too far away from the curb. So either way, I think that having lines there might help it. I am not a fan of getting rid of parking for residents. I think that that devalues their places and their homes. That's my personal opinion. However, my sister lives on Broadway. She's like, I don't care. I can't even park in front of my home anyway because everyone else parks in front of my home. So maybe, having that type of a line there and or like she had suggested a placard to have only the adults can only have one placard per adult that lives on Broadway that can park out there. I don't really know if that's feasible. But either way, I think that the biggest thing is the width of the vehicles and where they actually park. And that's the biggest safety issue that I've heard from everyone from the city when they complain to me about it and the problem that they have. So that would be my suggestion. And I am not ready personally. So if anyone wants to do a motion, I will not vote on anything specific. I want it to refer it back to the ordinance board.
So well, I have a lot to say about this again. First thing is if we eliminate parking, I feel that it's not fair to the homeowners, especially the homeowners, due to the fact they're gonna have to cut the curb to use the parking strip, or they're gonna have to go back behind their house and remove their sheds or remove their fence and then put new fence up. I don't think the city should make residents essentially have to pay money to fix their property because we're trying to fix a problem. I do know there's issues on Broadway with parking, but to take all the parking away is just ludicrous in my opinion. I don't agree with it. If we had to take parking away, I believe to keep the north side parking simply the most fair. The stop sign, yes, it'll slow people down coming to the city and that would be a good thing, but then you're gonna run into the issue of the homeowners near that intersection are going to hear Jake brakes, they're gonna hear people screeching to a halt, start going again. It's kind of I see both sides of it, but that's what I have to say about it. And then also I should say, the Legion, when they have any kind of dinner or bingo and all these things, it takes parking up on both sides of the street. And to eliminate parking on one side, that's going to create a big issue for them. And then you got the funeral home and stuff like that. So I don't really know what the fair answer is. I just don't agree with taking all the parking away. So.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, Mayor, my comment is, we blocked that, several years ago, a couple of us, and seemed like we were looking on Grand Street, just west of Presby, that we could potentially make some additional parking there. And that would be on both sides of Grand Street. I don't remember now if we got the room for that, but that was one thing that was mentioned for the Presby Mansion. There was another street. I think it's when you get to that one apartment with a big white apartment. I don't know which one that is.
Clickitat Street.
Clickitat.
Is that what it is?
The one
Okay.
right before.
It's Clickitat.
Okay, Clickitat, okay. That there could be some parking put there on the east side. There's some distance. We thought we could not parallel, but diagonal park. We could do some diagonal parking there. Now, personally, I think we could do the no parking on the north side and also put in a comment for vehicles, no RVs and no big trucks or whatever. I mean, that had to be talked about some more, but that's and the stop sign, that's my concern was, yeah, I'd like the stop sign, but still, like I said, if you got somebody been barreling down the Broadway for 50 years and all of a sudden there's a stop sign, that's gonna, like Jack said, up there by the hospital, which I think I've done myself, gone through it, And anyway, I just, that's kind of my recommendation. So I don't know. I won't say anything more, but I'll wait till, I don't know, Ellie, did you want to say anything or?
Theon's got her hand.
Okay.
Yes, Theon.
So, yeah, I just wanted to address some of those issues. As far as line of sight on that road, it's very difficult coming from any of the side roads and alleyways, especially Mill Street. And my thought on the subject is we have events at the fair. That's our fairground road, and that is Allen's Building Center's road. That road gets used a lot, and it is really hard coming out. You're already out in the middle of Broadway before you can see if somebody's coming when you're looking, to the left. So that is a real big issue. So that 4-way stop is going to help, I think, a lot. It's going to force people to stop there so that who's already stopped there can come out without fear of getting hit. Again, same thing. I am always reluctant going down that road. And I'm always trying to stay closest to the center of the lane as possible because I don't want somebody to open their door and whack me or take someone's mirror off, or because it is so tight and it's really difficult for our city to plow. And again, I know exactly what it feels like to be a person parked right in front of that white house. I used to nanny for a kid that lived at Jack's home. And when I was there, I had parked my car and we got hit by a blizzard storm. I didn't go out there for weeks. I couldn't get my car out. It was buried and there was so much snow packed into the tires and all around it. It was just the biggest nightmare. So why would you want to park your car there in the winter? I mean, and we have talked about this as a council. What can we do to the alleyways? Because I know we don't plow the alleyways. So that would be difficult for a lot of people to park there during the winter. So yes, we've discussed a lot of these things, and we as the city are going to do the best that we can. If we eliminate parking on Broadway, we will do everything that we can to make it up to you guys on those side streets, on the alleyways. We have also discussed the businesses. And, I am not opposed to at least leaving some parking in front of the Golden Sands apartments because I know how sketch it is to park behind them. There's not much room for the residents. And again, or you'd end up in the Allen or the auto parking. A huge goal of mine is to hopefully someday get a grant in the next 4 or 5 years to do parking upwards, like parking structures, not out because we don't have any room. But if we can get a grant to go up, I think it would be wonderful for so many of the residents and people that are, utilizing our downtown area. What else do I have to say on that one? I think, sorry, I'm not feeling well. I think that's about where I'm at. I really think the stop sign is going to be extremely beneficial for any events that occur that go on Mill Street. And, along with a lot of the plans that we have throughout the city to fix the roads, curbs, paint curbs, all of that. We have all of that in discussion on this. So I don't know. I mean, eliminating parking on one side or the other. I mean, and again, if we eliminate parking on both sides, that stop sign is going to be vital for people trying to speed because they're already coming in from the transfer station side at 50 miles an hour. If they don't see that 30-mile-an-hour stop sign and they just blast into town at 50, there's not always a cop there waiting for them. They're just going to keep going straight down that road. And I feel like it's going to eliminate that. And the people they're already going 35, it's an easy stop leaving town. And then you can just pick it right up to 50. But I think coming into town, it's going to really help all the residents parking there too. I mean, if we do save it on one side, and I do want to listen to the community, and that's why we wanted to do this hearing first before we make any rash decisions. But yeah, some of the businesses do have limited parking. There was a way to help the Legion get a grant to do up, like a leveled parking. That could be a really awesome thing. We have a lot of ideas, but man, and if this town grows, and with some of the plans that if there's going to be an influx of people coming into this city, like a big one over the next 5 years, we need to consider these things. These are people that aren't from here. So, they need to know. Anyway, I'm done. Thank
you. Thank you, Theon. Anybody else like to?
So I'm in favor of the stop sign, absolutely, and I know that the noise from the larger trucks is a big concern, so why not? Also start the discussion of prohibiting the use of Jake brakes inside of city limits, especially in the residential areas. And yeah, but no, parking is an issue, but I do like the stop sign.
Thanks, Ellie.
Well, Mayor, I think there no more discussion needs to be made, especially through the Public Works. I so move that we put this to the Public Works Committee. And was able to then make a recommendation to the council either at the next meeting or whenever after they meet. That was.
Would that be to keep parking on one side? Because we've already,
No, I'm just saying this just goes back to the Public Works Committee. They can talk it
I'm on the
over
public
again.
works committee.
Okay, you are? Okay. Well, then it'll go back to you and the other two members.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to refer this matter back to the Public Works Committee to make further recommendations to the city council. Any discussion? Yes.
Yes, please. Since only one of the council members are here from the Public Works Committee and two of them are absent, my only thing is that if it gets sent back to the Public Works Committee, that they hear everything that has been said from the people that are here that spoke today, so
Yeah.
that they have all of the information, so it's not just gonna come back and say, okay, what do you guys want to do again? Because that's not what we're here for.
We can type out the meeting minutes before they meet.
That was my concern, because it would just be fruitless for them to meet if they didn't hear all of this, and we did, and we are not in that committee.
Absolutely.
Because no one here that you're looking at are in that committee. She is, which is great, but the other two members are not, and
Because the
so.
next time it would come before council, if they had a recommendation, would be probably the May 19th meeting. So when we will send out a notice to everybody that we send out the first notices to, of when the recommendation is gonna come back to the council. So, because I think the Collins one, they're gonna try to do that on the 5th, and we don't want them on the same
Yeah.
day, so.
Perfect.
More than likely to be on the 19th, but if that has to be pushed out, like I said, we'll send out notices to everybody and we'll give the meeting minutes to what everybody has said to the committee.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great.
That's all. I have.
Anybody else? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second to refer this matter back to the Public Works Committee for further recommendation to the council. Unless there's any further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. This will be going back to committee, and we will make sure we get the committee all that information. Additionally, they'll be provided the link to the YouTube channel so they can watch this entire meeting on the computer as well. I mentioned.
I hope they do. Yep.
Okay, great. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda. And that's a report of officers. We'll start over here with Myland Walling.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I guess I don't have it really particularly. I know we got an exciting summer coming up. A lot of events are going on and so everybody's gonna be very busy. That's all I have here.
Thank you. Danielle.
Just had the opportunity to go to the Bargeway Pub on Saturday night and Walk Through Fire, and that's one of the bands that we got to play for Community Days this year. And I just have to say that they are fantastic. If you get a chance to see them, they're going to be playing in the Dalles for the Cherry Festival, I guess, also. So if you want to see what's in store for us, then by all means do that. Zims, they're also going to be playing at next weekend, I think, but and if you have specific things that you like to hear, ask them. That's what I did, and I got a great Bob Seger song out of it. So, be part of having what you want to hear. Be part of that, please.
Thank you.
That's it.
Andy.
Only thing I have is thank you to everyone that showed up to the meeting tonight. We appreciate you guys for being here. I know some of them left, but I think it's important for everyone to be involved in some of these decisions. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Andy. Holly.
I have nothing there.
All right. Dion, did you have a report?
No, I just wanted to thank everybody that came to the hearing as well. your feedback is vital to the decisions that we're making here. And without it, you know, we wouldn't be able to make the right decision. So we'll bring this in and we'll talk about it more. And hopefully by May 20, or was it May 19th, we'll be able to make that decision. So, and the other thing is, Kiwanis is going to be having a duck derby to help raise money for the children's reading and scholarship. It's going to be at the Econi Park, and that is May 17th. It's a Saturday, and they'll be starting at noon. And you can buy your ducks throughout town. We'll have them at different places, and you can also find us online or through the chamber.
Wonderful. Thank you, Fionn. Okay, and as far as our report from mayor, thanks to the public that showed up today. I hope everybody knows that we took all your comments to heart, and they will all be brought up when we go to that Public Works Committee. I guarantee that. And we'll work on that subject some more. At the next city council meeting, we'll have a recommendation from the Public Works Committee for the Collins Street parking issue. And so we'll deal with that. And then the meeting after that, we'll revisit the Broadway one. And so that's all I had. Yes, Sandy.
I was gonna also mention, so on our website, you can subscribe to the website. So when you hit subscribe, then you get an email notification whenever we have news that we put on there, or when we put the meeting minutes or YouTube video or the council packet, you get an email saying, this has just been added. So if you want to know what's happening in the city and you want to subscribe to our council packets, when you do that, then those are emailed to you and you get notification that something was uploaded. So that's always an option if you want to know what's happening inside.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Sandy. Yeah, that's a really nice feature of our website. And on top of that, it has a link to our YouTube channel that every meeting gets recorded, and you can go right on there and watch previous council meetings. I found that to be most helpful when I forget what might have happened at a meeting and I want to see exactly what was said. I find that to be real helpful. So appreciate that, Sandy. Anything else, Sandy?
Nope, that's all I got.
Okay. Well, that being said, entertain a motion for adjournment.
No.
Oh, sorry, is there someone else?
Public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Public comment. Is there anybody here that would like to make a public comment on any topic? This is the chance. Any topic that your heart desires, we will hear a public comment.
Any top?
Please step to the podium, Mr. Runyon, and state your name again. Thank you. For the record.
Jack Runyon, I own property in the city of Goldendale. Red Rock along the city streets. Council voted it in a long time ago. It needs to be taken care of. We've got lots of grease. Some places you can't even see the Red Rock anymore. There's so much grass and weeds growing up in it. You look at city beautification. I had a comment from a gal here a couple of years ago. Her brought her mother up from someplace, and her mother's comment said, "Is this the back way into Goldendale?" She's coming right down home. Oh. City beautification.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am, please step forward and give us your name again, please.
Veronica Covenants. Speaking of city beautification, Goldendale Community Enrichment tomorrow night at Crush Smoothie on Main Street. They stay open for us. You can order ahead of time if you're hungry. And we will discuss all kinds of ways to make Goldendale a lovelier place to live. We are right now looking at a few different initiatives to make the place lovelier within our budget. We got a grant and it wasn't what we thought. So we're looking at alternatives to what we can do with the money. And we're looking for people who are young and would love to, they don't have to be young, but people who have bandwidth that are able to do admin work, because we need a secretary desperately, and I work full time and I can't do it. My sister is retired and works full-time. So if anybody knows of anybody who is young or, has time and has admin skills and or just wants to help with city beautification and or making Goldendale a lovelier place to live, because it's already lovely, but we want it to be even more lovely. Please send them down tomorrow to Crush, and we will
6 o'clock.
assimilate them at 6 o'clock. into our little group.
I thought you were gonna bring up the city cleanup, the citywide cleanup,
Well,
that
that's
they
one
are
of the
also
things
the
we
ones
do,
that are
yes.
in charge of the citywide cleanup in conjunction with Republic Services. So I'll be putting more about that out as we get closer again.
Yes,
Wonderful.
we're gonna have flyers going out starting tomorrow night. We're gonna have the flyers available and start putting them up all over town. Please bring your friends, families, coworkers, people you hate, whoever, to help us clean up everything, and it will be free to go through the dump once that day, and if you're volunteering, you can go through however many times you want. I have a dryer I'm getting rid of, it's that easy. So come help, come on, come on.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
I can't remember because I wasn't planning on doing this.
Anybody else would like to make a public comment? Anybody on the line that would like to make a public comment? Hands up. Okay, hearing none, we'll close public comment and I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second for adjournment unless there's discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Opposed? Thank you, everyone. Meeting's adjourned. Appreciate it.
Did she just tell you it's May 31st?